Hey guys, welcome to SketchUp Live. It's Friday. I don't have a cool intro like Matt always does. I'm not gonna Friday, none of that stuff. I'm Aaron, and I'm gonna live model for you today. And with me today, I'm lucky enough to have Jody Gates on the line.
Also not as cool as Matt. Hi, everybody.
Who is really? So I'm sorry to break tradition here and interrupt the Tyson show because I know he's been doing this for the last several weeks. Uh,
Back to back to back.
Yeah. Once was my fault because I had to switch with him, and then the other time was his fault. He had to switch with me. So, yeah. So I remembered how to get here. So that's the first step. I'm in the studio. I turned on my computer. It's looking good so far. I
All right,
did.
so
Go ahead.
Bill's already got a great question here. As far as do you like to stand? Do you like to model standing or sitting? Is it harder?
Wow. That's a good question. I mean, in here, obviously, it's a standing desk, so it's whatever 32-inch. I don't know what these maker tables are, 30 something inches, uh, and it works pretty good. I tend to be a little bit fidgety. I tend to move around a lot, so standing works pretty well for me. At home, I sit down. I don't have a standing desk there, so I just sit. So I got to think about which one I would rather do because I think I just go
Well, and
with whatever's there.
then now there's the new variable of you've got a grown up desk instead of
I
a
do.
janky shop desk.
I had it was a big week for me, big week in the old Dietzen household. This weekend I was given a desk from some family members and went to a real desk rather than what I was on before was a kid's desk with a piece of plywood laying on top of it. So high quality indeed, but yeah, now I'm real. I figured 2.5 years of working at home, I'm gonna like buy a real desk, I guess, or use
It's
a real
it's
desk.
about it's about time to use a real desk.
I did want to give a shout out. I heard Barry is calling in from isolation. COVID. I'm sorry, Barry. That's a bummer. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully, you get better soon. Hopefully, your symptoms are mild and they pass quickly.
It's interesting that I'm encountering people rather than just hearing about people getting COVID now. Like for the lion's share of this whole COVID thing, I knew about COVID and I knew it was
Mm-hmm.
bad, but nobody I knew is getting it. And now all of a sudden everybody I know is getting it. And it's not for me, just for the record. I
Weird.
didn't do it.
4 days after I talked to somebody, they end up with COVID. I don't know how. Um, no, I mean, I agree. I was just telling Jody, my son spent the last week in his bedroom because he had COVID. So, uh, just
does,
tested negative today. So
does he have a computer or a gaming platform in his bedroom?
he did after one day of no, that's okay. He ended up with an Xbox in his bedroom. Yeah. So I mean,
That's great.
I still have you had it, Jody?
Yeah, I had it back in March.
Okay. I still have not had it yet. So hoping, trying to stay strong, steer clear. Um,
Like it's just a matter of time.
yeah. So hey
Kegi said
guys,
there's Kegi said there's nearly a
wow.
million extra cases this week in the UK.
But I mean, I guess I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the nice thing is it seems to be that like terminal cases have dropped severely, hospitalizations have dropped severely. So I guess if there's an upside, that's it. I mean, ideally, I would never want anybody to have to get it at all. But I guess if you're going to get it, mild symptoms that pass after a week are the
Yeah,
way to do
I'll,
it.
I'll gladly take that, and
Yeah,
especially if you don't get long-term issues, which my
yeah.
wife's having.
And Barry just said that too. Mild. He's got a mild variant. So do we stop naming variants after the one that was named
I,
after a
s-
transformer?
like I saw there were two. Yeah, there's like two versions, new versions of Omicron now. So I guess now we just say, oh, it's Omicron, but this kind of Omicron or something. I don't know exactly.
Is it Omicron Prime? Because I remember him. He transferred into a battleship.
I think that's the one that I had, and then now we're Omicron something else.
Delta
I'm sorry.
something. No, Delta's already been used. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, uh, yeah.
Enough
But
about COVID.
great to have you guys. It's awesome to be back here. I'm excited to do some live modeling. I'm glad you guys all showed up. This is going to be a fun time. We just got back Like last week, we just got back from AIA, the American Institute of Architecture annual trade show, which has been virtual for the last 2 years. So it was really cool. I don't know if anybody on here was there. If you were there and were able to stop by the SketchUp booth, let us know in the comments. It was a lot of fun. It was great to get to see people, like actually see people and talk about SketchUp. It was really cool. I mean, it's not life back to normal. I mean, it was very obvious going in there. It was not as full as it usually is. There wasn't as many exhibitors. The show floor was a lot smaller, fewer classes, but it was still awesome to be out and get to talk to people. Part of one of the things we did that made it so cool was we had a brand new booth. So we got to
Nice
get that
segue.
all installed, and oh, it looked cool. So we're gonna model that today. It's gonna be fun.
So since you got to go to that,
Mhm.
I guess this kind of begs the question of that's like a little teaser of base camp. 2 months. 2 months?
Yeah, like
2 months.
just over 8 weeks, nine and a half weeks, something like that. Yeah,
Jeez.
it's crazy. Yeah, if you guys are on the fence still about going, uh, it's time to do it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. Travel is getting easier than ever before. A lot of the restrictions are lifting, which is really nice. I don't know. Do you know off the top of your head, Jody, what kind of requirements there are to travel to Canada right now? I can't
Um,
keep track of
well,
it.
I know there's one that if you have a DUI on your record, then you're not getting in. They apparently don't like people to drink and drive in Canada. But I haven't seen anything like the COVID stuff. It feels like it might have shifted since the last time I looked at it. So yeah, I think maybe you do still have to have had a booster within some recent time frame.
Okay, good to know. Worth checking out, but it's less restrictive than it used to be. And yeah, we're still selling tickets, putting up new content in the agenda all the time. If you go to 3dbasecamp.sketchup.com and you do buy a ticket, if you use my name, my full name, Aaron Dietzen, it'll actually knock a percentage off of your ticket. So
That
check that
sounds
out.
just tremendously egotistical. I don't understand how you got your full name to be
I
the
didn't
code.
I didn't assign it. I asked for something easier to remember, like that guy, which is often what I'm
That's
referred to.
that SketchUp guy or Hey You.
What's his name? That guy. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the one. But no, they decided proper names were more important. I don't know. Anyhow, yeah, so events are happening. It's awesome. Life is slowly crawling back to normal. Um,
I
so
okay. So I'm going to ask this a little unofficial informal poll here, or maybe Nick will make one happen because you can somehow do that. Of how many people here are actually planning to go to base camp?
I'd love
Philip
to hear
said that
that.
the travel requirements from the UK are you just need a COVID vaccination pass.
Awesome. Yeah, so better than it was before. And this is flying to that trade show was the first time I have traveled anywhere that wasn't in my car for like 2.5 years, and kind of seemed back to normal. I chose to wear a mask the whole time, but uh, which when I look at it, I'm like, I always end up with a cold or something when I sit on an airplane, anyhow. So maybe that just needs to be a thing I do. But yeah, pretty easy. It's definitely
Okay,
easy.
it's this. Okay, I'm gonna let this COVID thing go after this. But I heard that Eric arrived in. Oh, but he wasn't going to. He wasn't going to Chicago. He was going to New Orleans.
Yeah, he went to New Orleans and got sick the last day of the trade show.
I thought he got sick at the beginning of it. Okay, and so
No,
then he had to stay there until he tested negative before he could go home.
that is exactly what happened. So one of our coworkers went to the ISTE show, which is an educator show, and tested positive for COVID the last day of the show. Had to stay in his hotel room. Flew back, I think, on the 3rd or 4th of July. Which I said that's just my worst. That's my worst case scenario is like having to stay in a hotel in some city, not be able to do anything, just sit in the hotel room for days. That sounds rough.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right, let's do it. Let's get into this
yeah.
thing. Let's model. Let's
Model
let's let's do
model
sketch
this
stuff.
thing.
Okay, so I I'm trying to make sure everything's working too because I'm like I guess I should check to make sure audio is working before now. People have been talking, so I'm assuming everything's working right. But yeah, looks good. Um, so we're gonna do is we're gonna model from a photo. We're gonna do a little bit of photo match. So I'm gonna start with that, and then we'll work with multiple photos. Just use them as reference to create the model. It's gonna be kind of a fun one. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab. Actually, before I do anything else, let me just slide over here and show you this image. So this is our new SketchUp booth. Um, it's big and open. It's got this kind of closet space in the middle. We have these big columns on either side, these ribs that kind of come down on the side or spaced across the bottom or the back side. And then on the back, you can see this is the back. It actually has these little desks that go across here. Really cool. I think it's gonna be a fun one. I have a couple of other things here. This is a close-up of one of those desks and Mr. Josh Riley. And then over here, we have a kind of side. I want to get a shot of this cool, like just divider kind of. Oh, you can't really. That.
Get out of the way.
That thing. So yeah, a couple reference photos. There's also this thing right here. We call it the sock hopper. It's this thing that we drop socks in. One of the big reasons to come to SketchUp at a trade show is you get free SketchUp socks. So this is a hopper that holds a bunch of pairs of socks, and you can actually pull them out the bottom. So those are the
Not
things
like
we're gonna
from
model.
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So Bill asked if we modeled it before we had it built. I'm going to assume we did, but who modeled the original? Who modeled the one that got built?
So Sarah on our team, she's part of our design team, actually did create a model of this, and she offered me the model, and I said no, I can't take it because that would be cheating. But maybe afterwards, I'll go grab her model that it was that the actual thing was built from. We'll see how close we got with ours because I don't know a lot of the dimensions on this, so I'm going to kind of be winging it.
Nice.
So, yeah,
I like winging it.
I know. That's how we
Lawrence
do it.
is actually throwing down a great challenge too. He said, because I don't know if you watched last week, but Tyson did almost the entire model before hitting the save button.
You know, for whatever reason, I went back and watched part. Oh, somebody asked. So, somebody in the office asked me. I had on my save T-shirt that just says "save" in big letters, and asked what the story was behind that. And I had to tell them the story of modeling Notre Dame for an hour and then losing everything. So I not that long ago went back and watched that video, and the shame is still there. It is still, it was a bummer.
I like to look back on those things with the belief that I helped someone realize how important saving is.
There you go. So if you ever go watch it, if you fast forward to about 1:09 in, I think something like that, yeah, it's not good. Yeah. So let's do this.
I don't think I have seen this new your little border you've got around your computer in the bottom corner window now. You added little
only
red
you're
green lines.
Yeah, only you're seeing that.
Oh, damn it.
That's just OBS.
I mean, darn it. Golly.
Dadgum.
You should make it happen for everybody.
Everybody else blends in seamlessly. What Jody's talking about is down here in our internal software. There's a little border around this image that shows where the screen cuts off, but you guys don't get to see it. It's not that exciting.
Sorry, you completely derailed the conversation. Model this thing.
Let's get in on this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and import an image. We're going to start with the front. I'm going to import front, and I'm going to import it as a match photo. All right, so if you haven't used match photo before, what match photo does, it takes an image, and it allows you to set vanishing points and basically orient SketchUp so that SketchUp's 3D space aligns with the 3D geometry in the image. The ideal image for a match photo is actually probably would be a little bit further over to the side on this one. So a little bit over further this way where I could see both sides of the booth vanishing. This isn't too bad, but this is, you can obviously see a lot more here than you do on the side. So if the photographer had stepped around this way a little bit further, it would have been ideal, but this is still pretty good. I still have good vanishing points on either side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the origin. So here I'm going to pull this over here so you can see it a little clearer. I got the origin right here, and I'm going to drop it to a point where I'm going to have geometry, which is going to be right at the bottom of this post. So an important thing about match photo. I know somebody just went by and referred to me as this guy who made me buy a 3D Connection mouse, you're
Yeah.
welcome. But if you're doing match photo, you have to keep your hand off of the mouse because hitting the mouse is going to move your model away, and it doesn't work out well. So for match photo time, it's only the regular mouse. I can do things like I can zoom in and out, I can pan, but I don't want to orbit or anything like that because it's going to mess with match photo. So I can zoom in here like this and go, okay, let's get this right up on that corner, boom, like that. That's the first part. Second part is these lines right here. I know this is a dark photo. It's kind of hard to see these, but right here is one of two green lines. This is the top line. So I'm going to do is I'm going to align this with some geometry. I'm going to use the very top of the booth, and I'm just going to stretch that line out so that it goes from this end right here to this end right here. And I can see, whoa, there's some sag. Look at that. That's a straight line from the end of one to the other. So we're going to
No, I'm going to say
model.
that's. I'm going to say that that's just that's since SketchUp is so awesome, it's so heavy, it's just got a gravitational pull to it. It was pulling people into the
Just pull it
like
down.
all of the people walking around the hall, and it just had that effect on the top as well.
So yeah,
That's
that's
funny.
that's kind of funny. I got to show some people that. Uh,
That's not insignificant.
we're it's not a lot. It's maybe a couple inches, and this is so this what it is. These big ribs go up here, and they have like one, two, three pieces that run across here that hold them together. And apparently, this just needs to be just buffed up just a touch. Yeah, got a little bit of a leaning there. All right. When I'm going to set now a second green line that's going to be in that same plane. Ideally, I want these, the further apart these two lines are, the better, what's the term I'm looking for here? The better it's going to be, I guess. I don't know. So
That works.
the better the exaggeration. I don't know. But so I'm going to go take this over to here at the very bottom. So one line's at the very top, one line's at the very bottom. And if you look at them, they will be closer together on one side. They're closer here than here. And that's proper. That's the proper vanishing should go like that. Red side's going to be a little trickier because right here, we'll go ahead and grab this one and I'll put it right there. Grab
Hopefully that
this.
one's not sagging.
So this looks much straighter.
Oh yeah, that's legit.
Oh, way better.
So Nasir, who is the one who commented that you're the reason that he bought 3D mouse, says he's addicted and he has 3 of them now. So
Wow.
I only have 2 hands, so that's impressive.
That's actually I'd say you're Nasir, you're the first person who can like has as many as I do. So I have this one right here, I have a travel one, and then I have another one at home that I leave plugged in all the time. So welcome to the 3D mouse club.
Nice. That's how you can tell you're so extreme. Kegi thought or is asking. He thought that you had to do the vertical, the blue first.
There's actually not a specific order you have to do it in because I can at any point I can come grab that and move it around. I can also scale at any point. I can move any of these. So I think general rule of thumb, you set your anchor first, but not necessary. You don't have to finish it first.
I feel like I always do the green one first,
Yeah,
mostly because that's the one that stands out the most whenever I look at a picture.
that works. It's really whatever you want. Every one of these is so I can grab this name point and I can move it. I can grab the origin name point and move it. So I just made a lot more work for myself. Hold on. All right. And now here's the first test that we're going to come up with. If we did this right, the line that goes on this piece of geometry should go straight all the way up, and that looks pretty good. It doesn't looks like it's just slightly off here, and that could just be, I mean, it's funny how little you can just start just slightly tweaking, and I can see some of the stuff move around. Looks like it's just a little bit off, but as we discovered, real materials do aren't always perfectly straight in the real world. So I'm gonna line to the edge right there. So we're close. We're very, very close. The other thing I could do here is I can set scale. So I This is the one part of match photo that maybe I struggle with a little bit is sometimes I want to set exact scales. Like I want to say from here to here specific, and I end up kind of just ballparking it and then scaling the whole thing afterwards. But I know Niraj is about the same height as Hari, who's standing right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually, it's kind of funny because Niraj here is what I'm using as a reference as I scale this. And right back here, you can just see his head is a cutout of Niraj in the back. It feels kind of meta. All right. So I'm going to say Niraj is about that tall. All
If
right.
you had been thinking while you were there, you would have put that right up front and center so that you could use it for this exact, like rather than using all these lines, you
Oops.
literally would just mouse over, or you would just position the picture and scale it to him.
I don't know if you guys caught that. I just tapped or I dropped my fist on the table and it made my 3D mouse jump. And that's why everything disappeared there for a second. Small heart attack. Not losing an hour of saving heart attack, but a little one that went, oh, I got to do it all again.
Nice.
Before I do anything
It
else, I'm going to
was
go to match photo and hit done.
Andy did say Control Z, but if you're trying to go for the 1 hour thing, then that's cool too.
Nope, I'm going to save right now. All right. Saved. I gotta do my own sound effects. So, all right, I'm gonna start with some simple geometry, and I'm gonna come up here, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle. Drop this back down over there, and I'll push that through like this. All right, and I'm gonna make that a component. I call it the front leg. That's what they call it in the trade show industry. I'm going to grab that and I'm going to move it. Option. I'm going to slide it right along the green axis till I hit that. So this is something. It's pretty close. I want to keep it on the green axis because I do want to keep it aligned. So here's a thing that a lot of people ask about when it comes to match photo is they go in and they model something and they're like, well, it's not right, it's not perfect, like something's not lining up correctly. And this is the thing that you're going to run into when it comes to modeling matched photo against a photograph. Well, like we just saw across the top there, that little right there, that's because things aren't perfect. Stuff sags and moves and isn't square. It looks like these two. It's possible that this whole big thing actually isn't at 90 degrees to the booth space it's sitting on. It's one of those things that you just run into. And the question becomes, what do you want to do? Do I want to come in here and manipulate my model so that this piece of geometry exactly aligns with the photo? Or do I leave the geometry knowing that the geometry is right and my end model is going to be correct, even if the photo's off? It's kind of up to you. I can't tell you how to do that, but
Right. It's not your model that's wrong, it's reality.
that's right. So boring. Reality's the worst. So that's what I got so far. I can, of course, just tap this. It named this front because that's what I called the picture. It's not that that's the front of the. It's
It's
not
the
a front
new
view.
machine learning in SketchUp.
That's right. So smart. All right. So here's another thing that's going to happen. Right now, I want to draw the side of one of these ribs, and I want to pull it through, make a component, and make it an array. As you start modeling this stuff in 3D space, you have to figure out how to draw stuff without leaving this view. Because like I just showed, as soon as I leave the view, my match photo goes away. So one of the things I tend to do a lot of is things like this. I'm going to draw a line from here over to where that edge is. And then I'm going to start drawing this profile. I'm going to draw this one back. Let's see. Here, I'm going to draw it to where it needs to be. Drop that back down. Draw one side like that, then I can get rid of this little line here. All right, and then
So
I'm going to drop this back I'm gonna draw a line right now straight down to the ground and then run back here. Again, stuff is not perfectly lined up, but it'll be enough for us. So there, see what I got there? Now what I can do is I can take a line like this and I can rotate it. I don't know if that's 45 degrees, but I'm pretty sure it is. So I'm gonna rotate that at 45 and then I'm gonna see how that looks. Yeah, that's lining up the way I would expect it to. So one of the other things I'm gonna do, this is, if there's a tip for match photo, this is it. Get rid of transitions because waiting for it to always rotate back, even if it's 2 seconds, is gonna drive me crazy. So I'm gonna go to animation settings and disable that. That way,
I remember
boop, I'm just
remember
back.
early on there always being this advice about you have to use an original image. You shouldn't use a modified image, which always felt super vague because I don't really know what modified is. But like if it's been cropped, supposedly that somehow messes with this whole ability. Do you know speak to that? Or do you know what the heck I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you have a photo that has been altered at all from its original look and feel, you might run into problems. Um, or I shouldn't run into problems. It's going to be harder to align geometry to edited or modified geometry or imagery. I guess if that makes sense. The other thing that can really cause problems is like trying to align imagery if you have something that's been taken with like a fisheye lens or something like that. That'll really mess with what you're working with. But I don't get specifically how cropping something changes the view.
I
Um,
don't either.
but I've heard that too. So
Maybe that's one of those where they're just being
cautious.
overly, yeah, they're just like any modification.
Yeah.
Well, I literally just trimmed it so that it's not a rectangle.
Yep.
Psh,
Throw your computer
trash.
away.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna make this a component. I'm gonna call this a rib. All right. And now I got to move this down here. So one of the things I'm thinking about is I want to keep this evenly spaced. So I'm going to draw a line right there. I don't really care what that length is. I'm just going to grab that line and I'm going to bring it down here and I'm going to put it right here. And then I'm going to grab this guy right here. I'm going to option copy. I'm going to stay on the green. It doesn't really matter that I'm out of there. I'm going to take that right over to there. And now I'm going to say divide that by 6. And there we go. How many minutes are we in? That's I feel pretty good about that. I'm gonna
And
say
just copy,
it's
paste, array, move array.
the thing. You know, I'm gonna do something else that I don't normally do. I'm going to I'm gonna paint this thing with materials as we go. So I'm gonna put a nice dark gray on here. Oh, it's looking pretty sweet. It's looking fly, as nobody ever says anymore. Okay.
You know, I think I only ever used that whenever I was singing uh, Pretty Fly for a White Guy
That sounds right.
or Pretty Fly for a Rabbi. Either of those versions. That's literally the only time I would use the word fly.
I see that. All right, it looks like uh, I don't know what this piece is right here. Like I don't know. It's really hard to tell from if it's hollow or it's open, but it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna grab all of this. I'm gonna make it into a new component. I'm gonna call this a rib support. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a nice metally color. Sorry, I have my colors over here on the other screen because I don't like when they show up when they get in the way. All right, there we go. And then I can take that guy, move him, option down to right about there, and then divide that by 2. All right. The booth comes along. You know, I gotta tell you guys a quick story. You may notice that I'm here on my Mac, which is absolutely nothing different than normal, right? Um, but like a week and a half ago, I had to bring my Mac in and drop it off and give it back to Apple because the integrated screen went out. It stopped working. Um, no damage to anything on the outside, but in the corner there's a crack inside the display, inside the LCD, and it stopped working. So I thought I was gonna have to. I've spent the last week modeling, or no, just working on a Dell laptop.
What? Ugh.
It's been a long week.
Yeah,
So I literally picked this up from our IT department at 10 o'clock today. So it feels good. It feels like I just came home. I
that feels almost cocky. Be like, yeah, we're gonna do a live stream. My laptop might not be done.
I was gonna go for it. I was all intention. I had these these images were downloaded on the Dell. I was gonna go. I was just gonna fire away. I wasn't gonna think about it. But fortunately I didn't have to. So that's very nice. It's been a weird week. Uh,
Yeah,
for one thing,
you know,
why does Control C all the way over here versus Command, which is over here? That's the worst part. That's like that's like working on a computer
all
in the
your
upside down right there. That's just it's
yeah,
nuts.
all your muscle memory is just all wrong.
Gone. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's broad sweeping items here that we might be able to do. So we have this piece in the middle, but it's really hard to see a reference to where that is. Uh, what I mean by that is, so here's this countertop right here. I'm gonna draw a line this way. I'm gonna draw a line back this way, but I don't know how far to take those. So I'm just putting that in as a reference. Pull this one up. It looks like this goes up to about here.
I don't know how far to take those. Is sort of like the whole story of my sense of humor.
Sounds about right.
You might have gone too far, Jody. Sorry.
Sorry, I don't know
Again,
how far to take those. All right, so put a couple shapes in, but again, I'm not 100% sure where they go because I can't see that part. So I'll have to kind of back my way into that geometry uh, in a few. Um, and this, again, I would love to hear how people go about modeling their creating their models because this is generally what I end up doing is just kind of throwing in some geometry like this. And then jumping back here to see, does that line up? Ooh, that was actually, that's not bad. That's pretty good.
that's
Um,
the beauty of like doing this very often is you get to where you can just wing it. You can fudge your numbers and they still work for some reason.
yeah, absolutely. So here, I'm going to grab that top. I'm going to push that up to about there. And then this piece goes back to here. This goes back about half that width. All right. So I'm getting there. It's coming together a little bit. So I have another photo that we'll match to in a second that might help me with that backside. Um, all right, that's looking kind of cool. I'm gonna go ahead and grab all of this, make that a component. This is primarily the closet, so I'm gonna call it the closet because I want to make, that is white, all that's white, it has some imagery on it, but it's mostly white, and I'm gonna put a countertop on top of it, so I want to have it as two separate pieces. Again, for the countertop, I know it's just a blue solid countertop that sits on top. Uh, so I might be able to just come in here and probably do something like this. And pull that up a dimension. Um, again, I don't know how other people go about this, but this is kind of my method of working is to get some geometry in and then come back and edit it as needed.
It sounds sort of like sculpting, basically.
I think that's fair. That's a fair way to put that for sure. Um, make that blue.
Which I guess is it's kind of the way that your traditional modelers work, right? Except that they usually have, a torus or weird shapes manipulating.
Yeah. So there, I can kind of see from the reference that's fitting in about the right spot. So I should say this. So a lot of this depends on what your final use is. If you're doing like a wicked has to be perfect as built, like this has to be ideal, then match photo's okay, but you're gonna want to come in with some actual field measurements that you go do because you can come close with this. But like I said, all the stuff we've talked about, distortion from the camera, or just material being out of line, that's going to cause issues. So you're not going to get that perfectly perfect solution there. But yeah, but this is going in the right direction, I feel. I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab another rectangle and I'm going to put it like this. And one of the things that happens when I come in like this, I want to push the top of that rectangle up higher so it goes up to here. But you can see I can't get to it. I can't push pull. What I can do is I can select that first. I can go into push pull, jump to the view, and now I can actually drag it up without actually being there, actually seeing it. I think something is happening here. Hold on. I'm just gonna color this green real quick, and then I got to investigate a thing. Greenery, greenery.
Lawrence is impressed that you're using materials.
It's not easy, Lawrence. It's trying. It's trying on me. I kind of think that. Let me. Let's look at this side photo. Okay, so this countertop is actually pushed back from this piece right here. This is another thing that's very important. Don't ever try to do everything from one photo because it's just not going to work. I was thinking today about last time we did a big match photo is when we did that gas station, which I think was from the set of Andy Griffith or something like that.
Yep, I remember that one.
And
Seems
we
like his
did
song. You
everything from one view, which meant like 50% of what we modeled, we went to the other side and went, that's going to look like this. So if you have something you're actually referencing, get more images. All right. So if we look at that, now I can go grab this to push pull, go back to my front view, and I think this is the corner right here, so I'm just going to pull it out to there. Then come into this guy right here, pull him out to here too. There we go. So there's that little bit of a step, but like I said, it looks appropriate here. This section here looks like it's also, grab that and give that maybe like a little light gray there, because it looks like it's gray as opposed to white like the counter is. All right. It's already looking good. It's looking good. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's save.
do it. Seems like perfect time to do it.
I don't have a
While you
keylogger
do
on.
that, I'm gonna
Has
go fill up my
anybody
water bottle.
mentioned that?
Mentioned what? What?
That I don't have my keylogger on?
Oh. Now everybody just knows what you're doing. It's so obvious.
Nice. All right. So some major pieces of geometry that I want to create is this booth right here, this little demo station. It does exist all the way around. So
Studio RT Cool did throw out a good pro tip as well, though.
all right.
Is to project the photo onto the face and then orbit around to another point of view and use push pull to use the texture as your guide.
That is a great idea. Good thinking.
Okay, I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle. Don't say anything funny.
Good luck. You guys want to talk about Jody? All right. So thinking about how to start this, it is the width. I believe these are about the same. Actually, let me check. Let me check my drawing. Not that this is the end all be all, but that's about 2'2". This is about 1'8". Okay, so they're slightly different. So I'm going to come in here and draw this up like this. As I'm coming up, I have to be aware there's a little bit of an overhang here, so I can't quite see where the top is. So I'm going to go a little bit past where it looks like it is that. I'm going to take that piece and come back that distance. All right. And now I'm going to come in here. I'm going to offset this. I'm going to actually go big right now. I'm going to go too big. Now I just have a surface to work off of. Was not that far off. All right, so I'm going to do another offset. I'm going to pull it out till it looks like it hits the bottom of that white line right there. See how close this looks. And it's obvious that this back piece comes out a little further. Oh, maybe not. No, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty close. All right, I'm going to round the corners. I'm just going to double click them. That's going to give them the same round corner that I put over here. And I believe, I don't know what the radius specifically was, but I think they were all about the same. All right, so that gives me this. I come here. I'm going to push pull that up as far as the white part goes. And then I'm going to option push pull for that blue top, just about right there. All right, and let's clean this
Okay.
up.
I'm back, and Andy pointed out you did the cyberpunk room using Match Photo.
Well, that's true. That was multiple match photos too. That was,
Yeah, which I guess would have not worked with the example you were saying of having to guess a lot.
yeah. All right. Oh, and then this actually is also blue. This is flying by. This is piece of cake. It's kind of it. I gotta say, so switching from Mac to Windows. I'm not gonna harp on this too much more, but I gotta go here. The the hardest parts were one was the command versus control key because I hit command S, Z, C, X, V fairly regularly, not just in SketchUp but in other stuff. So I noticed that one thing. The other thing is that Windows is dumb. I, it's just everything about it. I can't use it anymore. I used to work on Windows like daily. I mean, I was in, AutoCAD 10, 11. That was DOS even, and then in Windows. But man, I can't go back. I'm so stuck. So yeah, it's been interesting trying to do that. And it was a terrible timing too because so I don't know if I mentioned this before on here, but I've been working on a book, and I can actually talk about this now. It's called Taking SketchUp Pro to the Next Level, available from Pact Publishing. You can actually pre-order today on Amazon.
Oh, geez, I didn't realize this was sponsored.
Oh, I can't afford to pay anything for that.
Oh, geez.
But it was a bummer because I had 13 out of 15 chapters written when my Mac pooped out, and I had to write the last two using Windows, and it was rough. It was a rough time to go. Not only are you dealing with all this, but now you got to relearn, like, Word is not the same on both platforms. I didn't know how to do a screenshot in Windows, so it's been it was an interesting week.
But let's be clear, it's Windows that's stupid, not you.
That's Jody said it for me. I didn't have to. I would have felt self-serving had I said that myself. But yeah, it's good.
Keggy wants to know what your book's about.
It's about when I was approached by them, they didn't want me to do another intro to SketchUp book because they're out there, the dummies books, all that kind of stuff. So it really kind of tackles the process of moving from being a beginner SketchUp user to being an intermediate SketchUp user, and what does that look like? We always talk about this. The beginning part of SketchUp is simple. Everybody does the same thing. You go, you do fundamentals, you learn how to use the tools. It's real easy. When you go to intermediate, you go to that next step. How do you get better at SketchUp? It's different for everyone depending what you want to do with SketchUp. So it's kind of it helps you process what do you want out of SketchUp and how do you go about developing the workflows and finding the tools you need to take SketchUp from beginner, or your SketchUp skills from beginner up to intermediate / advanced user. So I'm hoping people enjoy it. Hope people like it, because I said it was something that we don't often get into because it is such a different process for everybody.
It's a hard topic to sort of broach because
It
of the
is.
difference.
Yeah. But yeah, you can check it out. There's like I said, it is up on Amazon right now. It's by me. It's from Pact Publishing, and you can pre-order it today. Or if you're coming to Basecamp, you can buy a signed copy. So
Are you going to be? Yeah, are you going to be on the author's row signing?
I am.
Signing a book?
I was talked into it. So it'll be fun. We have a bunch of, not just myself, but a handful of authors coming with their books, signing. I don't know who exactly is on the list, so I don't want to say anything, but it's pretty cool. I have.
Bill is a woodworker and uses Make 2017. He's curious if it would still be applicable to him.
Absolutely, you gotta have it. No, I would never want you to get something that didn't help you. I think a lot of it is, so there is some stuff that is specific to SketchUp Pro 2022, because that's the recent version. That's one I used for the book. But a lot of the topics have to do with things like extensions, your workflows. How do you create a custom workflow, that sort of thing. And that stuff's the same no matter what version you're running. So could be useful if you like learning from books. And that's another thing. It's a lost art form, I think, reading.
It would be interesting to see if you are more educational in a book than you are on film.
It's
screen.
It's a lot harder to wing it when you write something and it goes through several rounds of revision. I can't just say
what is this
stuff
supposed
and
to
then push
mean?
to
You're like,
YouTube.
yeah.
All right, so I have this table I made at the front, and based on my model, these supports right here are slightly different size. I don't think that's correct. I think they're the same size in real life, but for the sake of the model, I'm going to say that these are different. So this station's a little bit bigger than these stations. So I'm going to take this one, which is now a copy of this one. So if I come in and make an edit here, right? So if I try to change the size of this one, it's going to change the size of that one. I don't want that. So before I do that, I'm going to right click and say Make Unique. With it still selected, I'll head over to Entity Info and say, this is not the front demo station, this is the back demo station. So now this is something brand new, which means I can come in, I can grab it, I can grab all this section right here, and I can slide it from here to here, and I just made that geometry into a smaller piece. That geometry then goes from this one, they're on every other piece, so it's gonna go to here, 2x. Man, components really make it look like you know what you're doing and let you crank out stuff fast. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to say
that's your next book could just be How to Cheat at SketchUp, and all it is just a chapter on components.
Seriously. I'm going to do just some quick work right here. This is all greenery in the photo, so if we look right here, I'm not going to go in and actually like scatter leaves on or anything like that, but I do want to get it not looking quite so blocky. So here's what I was thinking of doing. I'm going to take the three sides, offset them like that, and then split them like this. And then to speed this up, I can actually just grab that geometry, find the middle of this rectangle.
This is always my favorite hack.
Oh, this isn't going to work so well because it's not really, never mind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it into a group. It's not a square, so I can't just copy it over.
Andy wants to know if your book's going to come out as an audiobook. And Paul said actually it is, and it's going to be voiced by Patrick Stewart, which
Ooh,
I now think that's something you need to pursue.
I think that would be awesome. I would be perfectly happy if that happens. If one of you guys can set that up for me, I'd be greatly appreciative. I even give you a free copy of the book. How's that?
Sweet. A free copy of the audiobook?
I'll do both.
Nice. Nice.
I feel like Patrick Stewart's one of those guys that people would go buy content just to hear him speak.
Just to
You
hear
know, like
him talk.
Samuel
Yeah.
Jack or not. Actually, I would listen to. I don't know if Samuel L. Jackson's ever done any commentary, but I would listen to that too.
Well, he did read a copy of Go the F to Sleep as a children's book, though.
Yeah, for the kids.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman, though, that would be a good one for you to,
Yeah,
if it's not Patrick Stewart, then Morgan Freeman,
yeah.
one or the other.
He's a good voiceover guy. Speaking of inappropriate titles of things and components, I was working with Chris Rosewarne, where those of you who know him, Chris does design for Hollywood props and stuff like that. And he's a presenter at Basecamp. And his hands-on class at boot camp is component the S out of everything. So that's going to be a fun one. He actually said it as a joke. He's like, you can't call it that. But I said, watch me.
It's going to be called that. No takebacks.
It's S star star T out of everything. So if you're coming, keep an eye out for that one. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, James Earl Jones. That'd be a good voiceover. Or Tyson. Yeah, get Tyson to be your audiobook voice.
He does. He's got a calming voice, which I do not feel I have ever had. I don't think I've ever made anybody more relaxed by listening to me talk.
You have almost put me to sleep a couple of times. Is that the same thing?
More or less. I'm gonna go grab. I'm gonna spend more time on this. But I'm gonna go to vegetation and grab my grab some leaves. The biggest leaves we have is better.
You need to use the fuzzy extension.
Yeah. Well, it'll work for now. It pokes out a little bit and you can tell it's green. That's really all I can ask for right now. All right. Let's move on. All right. So the back. I do have this other image of the back called back. So what I want to do is, because I got some more things on here. I got the sock hopper I can see from here pretty well. Oh, I got waste baskets. That could be a fun thing to run there. I have these little plant shelves right here. So I want to get some more of this stuff on here. So I want to bring this in as a second match photo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around in the back, get to, a similar view, something like that. Because what's going to happen, I don't have to be perfectly aligned because I'm going to have the opportunity to move that same, move my geometry around just like I did, or move my vanishing points, vanishing lines. The red and green, I can move that around. So I don't have to have this exactly lined up because it will contort based on that. But one of the things I've learned I want to do is I do want to go to Tools and Axes and put the axes right here on this front corner. That's going to be better when I bring in my photo match because I can align right there. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab Niraj and I'm going to bring him over here. So again, he's up front as I do people scaling kind of thing. We'll see how much I lean on him, but he's here. All right, so with that, I'm going to save. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to say Import. And where's back? Import as new match photo, import. All right. And crazy stuff happens now. As I'm moving around the axes, I'm not just moving the axes, I'm actually moving the entire SketchUp model. So as I bring this in here and drop it down here on the corner, you can see I'm actually dropping my existing geometry onto the image. It's way off now, but you can see how it's lining up in similar space. It's hard to see with that dark background, but it's there. So now what I can do is I can grab my green line. I'll come in here, drag this over to the origin, and then we'll drag the other end out to the end here. There we go. Second green line, we can go up as high as we can. Looks like we could actually go across the tops here. There's probably a little bit of sag again, but I'll go ahead and get 1 point right there.
So when we talked about the sag before, I have to scroll back and look up what the word was again. Entasis. This was what Transom and then Bill elaborated on.
And
They said that's what it is. Entasis.
huh,
You familiar with this word? It is a
sounds like
slight
something.
convex curve in the shaft of a column introduced to correct the visual illusion of concavity produced by a straight shaft.
So it's good or it's
Basically,
bad,
I think it's
or it
it's
just
it's for
is.
it's for aesthetic purposes.
Oh, that's what a yeah, like a Roman column has like that to make it look
Yep, yep,
vertical.
yep. As you're looking at it, when you get all up next to it, if you want it to still look vertical, then they add a bulge that
I,
or a
I kind of feel like this is just
non-bulge.
just saggy material, but it could be too.
I feel like that's probably really it. But I like to think that there was a design aesthetic.
All right. So with that lined up, you can see my geometry is a lot closer. All my straight vertical lines are parallel or close to it. Obviously, I'm not the right scale yet. So what I can do now, this is where I scale, and I just push that up until I line up. Something was definitely off with these. I noticed it on the front side too. Um, I don't think this is exactly 45 degrees. I think it's slightly up from 45. That's why, because my corner right here is perfect. My line right here is right, but my 45 is just a little bit off. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But here we go. We're on the other side, and look how much stuff lined up. Look how close we are with our closet in here in the middle. Our booths are super close. That's nice. I like it when things work. All right, so I have these little plant shelves. I'm just gonna knock these guys out real quick. So they kind of look like this. I'm gonna draw the flat. I'm gonna draw it underneath like this. That's gonna come back up. All right. Again, just got a shape in there. Now, let's see how that shape. Let's throw some. See if the same arc works. Ooh, love it when a plan comes together.
Colin wants to know if you're going to use image igloo.
No. Next question.
You know what's funny is like I remember whenever it first came out, and they got that was a phrase that was dropped often, and then I just feel like it's never like to the point that I'm like, did that even exist? Was there
Are you,
was igloo a thing? Was that
everybody's
like something
gaslighting
we?
Jody.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so those of you who do not know, uh, Image Igloo was kind of a way to uh, take a whole bunch of imagery, a bunch of photographs, and basically kind of create a wraparound image uh, for reference. Um, really cool idea. I don't think I've ever honestly used it. I don't. I'm trying to think when I've used it. And I don't know if I have.
Yeah. Well, Colin's now getting all cocky and saying he didn't think you were brave enough to try it. So
Yeah, well, Colin knows me.
I like to just that's the best way to shut down a bully. To be like, no, you're right.
Yeah, take that, Colin. No, I mean, it's definitely maybe that's a goal. Let me know, you guys, in the comments if Image Igloo is of interest to you, and if so, then we'll have Tyson show it.
Nice.
Uh,
Best part is that Tyson's not even anywhere around. He's probably driving right now.
yeah, can't. He's on vacation. He can't even defend himself. Rude. Okay, so this needs to be a little bigger, and then I'm gonna go ahead and grab this, offset this in like this, something.
And it's funny is I have a help center article for this, and it is completely just off on its own. Like nobody will be able to browse to it. It's like a secret.
On Image Igloo?
Yeah, it's like yeah.
Man, this is looking pretty good. All right, I'm gonna draw a quick rectangle. This comes out this way just a little bit. Comes out just this way a little bit. All right, and I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna throw a wood grain pattern on there. I'm just using stock uh, materials for all this stuff, but
Well, just the fact that you're using materials is already
I figure I don't want to.
something.
Yeah, I don't want to overcompensate for what I haven't done before. I figured use stock and not nothing fancy. That's looking pretty sweet. That's looking pretty awesome. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, sock hopper we got on here. Back again. All right. So what this is a shelf that is like concave, and then it's got this plexiglass kind of shell around the side of the edge there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a couple lines on the side like this. So how far it goes down. So again, some references. And then what I can do is like that, like that. Just get some geometry there. And then hop back over here and go, okay, now pull that out. About how far that shelf comes out there. Pull the shelf out this way. Pretty the same. Looks needs to go a little longer too. I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna go into push pull. I'm gonna hop back over here. Pull that out so it goes the full length. All right, so I do know that it's the same length on both sides. So it's not a different length. So I'm gonna put that there. Shift that like that. Take that out to get it here. Do you guys ever, so has anybody ever run into this? So when I go to push pull, I can't snap to this point because I think the logic is that point disappears as soon as the line goes to it, right? So I can't snap to it. So if you ever run into that, I don't know why it does it, and I've tried to figure it out, but I just end up drawing a line like this, and then that point I can snap to. I don't know if you guys have ever hit that, but I sure have. So there you go. That's a tip you may have never asked for.
It's a good tip.
Okay, so that is obviously too far.
Bill's wondering why there's no tags in this model. Are there components in this model? Yeah, I guess there are components.
It's weird. I just lost undo and redo. Huh.
Maybe it's a good time to save.
Save.
I can just picture Nick just sitting at his computer, just sort of almost like rocking back and forth, saying that as you fail to save for hours and hours on end.
Sorry, Nick. All right. That looks better. I had it a little bit too tall, I think. Yeah. So this is where a detail photo may come. I should point out too that these are not my photos. I did not take these. So I was actually kind of thinking, well, boy, I wish I had taken some photos because, like I said at the very beginning, the ideal photo for match photo looks at stuff right on the corner. So looking at it like this would have been ideal because my vanishing points are more extreme. I want to almost be at 45 degrees like this, so you see like that. We're not. It's not terrible here. It's just we're almost facing this side too much, so not ideal, but not too bad.
I think it really speaks to how completely impromptu or ad hoc, how much this was not planned.
Yeah, so if anybody thinks I'm making this up, uh,
You're right.
that's right. Oops, make component. I had a comment on a video I made. I think it was I made a video for components on SketchUp for iPad, and I'm trying to remember the exact term that somebody used, but yeah, they said groups should be made illegal. Everything should be components. It wasn't Dave. I went and checked. It was somebody other than Dave said that.
You haven't changed up the hardware in the studio recently, have you?
Nothing that I know of. Is there something I'm?
Oh, so
It's
the Silver Wolf Hunter has been binging, like recently binged through the entire backlog,
nice.
and now they're observing you sound a little more nasally today.
It is allergy season, so
There you go.
it's possible that
You're allergic to Friday afternoons.
that could be. All right. So here's our hopper. So what I want to do is I think I'm just gonna model this as a solid. There's no real point in modeling the front and back of plexiglass, I don't think. So I'm just gonna model this as a solid chunk that's gonna sit here and rise up. I think the easiest way to model this is gonna be to come in here, come in context, I grab these two lines, and C, come out of context. Oh, that's weird.
So they'll notice that whenever you're doing the corners like that, when you're cleaning that stuff up, you actually do the push pull rather than just double click. Is there a is there a reason you do that? Just habit. I think if I speak for myself, it's because as soon as I start using a double click on an operation like that, invariably I realize that I've at some point push pulled and messed up what my depth was or something. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm trying. I'm working through that.
Okay.
What was just
Whenever you created the rounded curves around the outer
Mhm.
edge of that, like you go back over, you added the curve, and then you use push pull to get rid of the corner.
I actually pull it down.
Yep. You don't even know. You just do it.
Years of habit, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I did not realize that was the thing I did.
Are you
But
going to model all the socks that go into the hopper?
oh, I got a plan. I got a plan for that.
Is it going to be materials? I'm sorry. Maybe I just spoiled your plan.
You
Dang it.
did.
Oh.
All right. So this comes out a little bit further. All right. And this does have a rounded corner. It's a smaller rounded corner, so I'm gonna.
So when the show was over, did you have to like pull all of the socks out of the hopper and put them back in a box?
Somebody did. I personally was at the airport waiting for my flight, which was delayed for 3.5 hours. So I was not able to help with that.
Oh, you just use double click.
I did that time. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with the distance too, because I'm right up in it on this one, you know. So maybe I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. You know when you think about stuff and then oops, that was
When I think about stuff and oops, happens a lot.
all right. So here's what I was thinking. So that doesn't matter. All right. So I'm gonna go save. I'm going to turn on my hidden geometry so I have a surface here. I'm going to where's what is going on here?
You're using all your tools.
I imports
Are you using
gone.
are you using a hacked version of SketchUp?
I downloaded it from CNET. It must be good. I have no idea why. That's so weird. All right.
Maybe you're using the Windows version on your Mac since you've been using Windows all week.
That's probably it. All right. I'm gonna quit SketchUp real quick and bring it back in.
Save first.
I did.
Whew.
We'll just look at this while I do this. Enjoy. I have been running into some issues. It's time for me to, you reach a point where, I don't know if you guys do this. I load a lot, a lot of extensions. And I, I have some extensions right now that are causing problems. Hopefully, I've never led you to believe that all extensions work seamlessly every time you use them. Extensions are awesome. I use them all the time, but every once in a while you'll get something that just causes some issues. So I do have something that's causing issues with my startup, but I need to go do the thing where I troubleshoot, figure out which one it is, because yeah, it's time for that. All right, I'm gonna take this face right here and try this again. File, import. I'm going to import my socks photo. I'm going to import it as a texture. And I'm going to put it right here. There we go. And I'm going to drag it up here. I'm going to see what this looks like. Whoa, that fits almost too eerily perfect. Okay, they might be a little bit big socks compared to Niraj, but it still works. I like it. All right, take this.
Those are really big socks.
It's not a seamless texture, but it's a messy texture, so I'm thinking it's going to get us through just fine. That's one of the things that if you take a nice ordered texture, it can be it can look a little not awesome if you wrap it around or something like that, but you get the right, texture that's just like
If it's
over.
just crazy enough,
That's right.
nobody will know the difference.
That's right. And once I turn off my hidden edges, hopefully it just disappears. Especially if I come back and look at it from right here. Let's see.
Now, since you've looked at the latest batch of socks, they don't say it doesn't stink anymore, do they?
I don't think it does. I don't think it says anything. I think it just has a SketchUp logo. I'm wearing a pair right now.
Okay, let's see them. Pop your foot up here.
Well, that ship sailed. That's maybe at one point in my youth this foot could come up here, but it says SketchUp on the bottom, and that has big SketchUp logo on the top of the foot.
Okay, all right.
Awesome. So yeah, so that's, again, I could probably go through some work where I could take some pictures and overlap them in Photoshop and do some fades and stuff where I could turn this into a seamless texture. There's actually utilities online that let you take an image and make a seamless texture. I don't know that it's worth going through that for this. Okay, now that I'm looking at them, like they do look a little dingy. They're actually very bright white. So one edit might be just to kind of whiten them up a little bit, but overall, I think that works pretty well for like showing what our booth looks like. It turned out pretty cool.
It doesn't really do justice for how many people are stopping by, because
Yeah, I'll have to take Niraj and go
yeah, so
stand.
we got a best in show sort of thing, right?
Yeah, we got an award at AIA for
SketchUp for
was
iPad. I know was
emerging
one of them.
technology or something like that.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, hey, get down. Yeah, that's closer. Except they weren't all Nirajas, so that actually doesn't work very well. But yeah, it was busy. We had a lot of we were next to another CAD company.
I think I've heard of this one.
Yeah, I won't. I'm not gonna call. I'm not that. That's not how I roll.
If you had been paying attention to the pictures,
This was the happening booth compared to other company. Other company just they had free coffee in their booth, which we drank. But yeah, this was the place. This was hopping. This was a lot of fun.
my favorite thing is whenever people from the other booths come over to check out the product.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny too because when you go to something like a trade show, you can be a jerk. there's nothing wrong. I mean, there's no rules against being a jerk. It's kind of like life. You can be a jerk if you want, um, but it's I don't know. It's a lot more fun to just be nice and be honest about what you got, and may the best booth win. But all right, I want to draw this thing right here. Um, I think these are random. I don't know that they were all the same, but I do want to come in and kind of just create something here. So I think what I'm going to do, I could try to and kind
Oh,
of
the
see
huge SketchUp
this.
logo.
Yeah, I was actually going to look on 3D Warehouse for that and grab it because I don't want to trace that. It's not exciting, and I don't know what our. Do you know what our font is?
It is not. It's like one you've got to have installed. Like someone mentioned it to me recently, and it was, yeah, it was somewhat obscure
Okay,
and not free. So
okay. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I've seen that logo, the logo in geometry on Warehouse. So I'll go grab that right after this because I just slap it here, slap it here. We're good to go. All right, I'm going to import that image, the side image. Import that, chuck it on the ground. Oh, whoops. Hey, this is kind of fun. This is my third kind of import. So I've done a two match photos, I've done a texture, and now we're importing this as an image. I did them all. Ah, oh, I like having you here, Jody, but Matt would
yeah,
have played an applause sound effect for that. I would have.
I don't even know how to do that.
I know, I know. But think of all the things that you got that he doesn't know how to do.
Ken suggested you use Comic Sans to follow through on.
I still like
Uh,
it. You guys say whatever you want.
Whether you like it or not, it exists. It's not going anywhere. It will be there in all of the newsletter church newsletters for all of time.
Because of guys like me who think it's underused somehow.
Yeah, I don't think it's underused, but I think there are a lot of really nice fonts out there. I'm an equal opportunity font user, so
I think they call those fontists.
mhm, mhm. They call me Little Lord Fauntleroy. No, they don't
Wow,
call me
you
that.
just took it to the next level. Did you have that queued up? That
Yeah,
was good.
yeah. Yeah, but I need some. I need some applause now too. Matt.
It's the best I can do.
Ah,
All right. These are all tied together with like a bar through the middle. So I'm just going to grab a circle, throw it right here. I'm going to take that circle, copy it. Whoa! Um,
Andy wants to know if your book is printed in Comic Sans.
I can put in a request. I'm assuming not, unfortunately. Sorry, guys.
Uh, Gradcast isn't any sort of paid subscription thing, right? That's
I think there is a paid version. I think if you get over a certain, I think it's like anything else. You have the introductory account, which allows you to do so much. And then if you want to go beyond that, you have to pay. I think that's the way it works.
but you just. I mean, that's what you use for the
To attend, you don't have to pay anything.
right.
Right.
So I'm just trying to figure out why anybody would need to pay for it.
If you're just viewing, you shouldn't have to. If you want to do your own crowdcast presentations, then you might have to do it. Pay something. It's like GoToMeeting or a service like that uh, where if you, I think you have a
If you want to be able
certain,
to change your background,
yeah,
important stuff like that.
and the number of people you can have is limited, that kind of stuff. All right, so I'm gonna go color these bars. I'm gonna throw some silvery colors on there, and then, oops, I don't need this anymore. for these woods. I'm going to put, I don't know, a wood texture. All right, I'm going to grab all of that, make it a component. All right, I'm going to take it. I'm not 100% sure how to place this, but I'm going to grab it by the edge right here. I think I'm going to scale it a little bit.
So many materials. This is crazy.
I know I'm feeling a little nauseous, like overdone it. I think that is like there. Oh, looking cool. All right. So there is another feature that I thought would be a fun one to model. This little guy sits like that. Actually, not one there. Oh, this is what it looked like. I feel like I'm there. Ooh, I'm in Chicago.
You should, yeah, throw an Aaron 2D component in there.
There we go. We're going to go 3D warehouse now. Maybe we will find him. Okay, so that's looking pretty awesome. Two things that are missing. Well, a couple things are missing. Yes, big SketchUp logo here, big SketchUp logo here. So we'll grab that. But the other thing, and you can actually see that right here, that was so cool was these lights. So there was a string of, I'm trying to figure out how to find out exactly how many, but oh, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A string of 9 lights on every one of these things. And they were all color changing LED bulbs hooked up to an iPad, so you could actually change the colors throughout. It was pretty cool. It was pretty neat. So I want to get just a representation of that. I'm going to draw a line along the middle of this piece right here. I'm going to click right here and drag a line down. Again, just getting my point of reference in the 3D model or in the photo match so I can come in here and draw the thing I want to draw. All right, so from here, I'm going to come down, over, up, and oops. Go. I don't know if this is the right size or not, so I'll scale it back once I get this done. Looks good. Put a circle right below that. Grab that. Tools. Follow me. All right, let's go see how close that looks to. That's a little big, but I like it. It's gonna work.
Jensen wants to know if there is disco dancing at the convention.
You know what? They had a thing that was. Uh, it's funny you said that. They had a. I'm gonna put the placement or the axes up here as I move them around. They had a dude on a Segway with turntables right here and speaker behind him going up and down the aisles playing music. Oh, and there's also a bubble machine on there. So he was just going through, music would play, he was going about this fast. He was going up and down the aisles shooting bubbles and playing music. It was something. It was not it was something. So yes, there was disco dancing, I guess is what I'm saying.
Nice. And I'm sure you were right there.
You know how I roll.
All about the disco. And I'm sure there'll be plenty more disco at base camp.
You know, I would be surprised if there wasn't some form of disco. Yeah.
I haven't heard any talk recently about the party.
It's gonna be cool. Gonna have magician. Gonna have lights, food, beverages of adult nature. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fun. All right, guys. This is looking. I can see the end from where I'm at. We find the right SketchUp logo. We can put this thing to bed. This is cool. Look at this. All right.
You're legit.
All right. I'm
Other than
going to
the lack of the
save.
SketchUp logo, this literally could be the Autodesk booth for all I know.
That's true. No, because there's a person in it. So,
But also the file name.
yeah, that's true. All right.
Hey, I didn't do applause, but I gave you a little snare.
I'll take that. Let's see if we can go by place relevance with date added. None of these seem to be it. I know it's oh there's
Nick found the font name. Do you want to know what it is? I don't know if it's top secret or not.
I don't know.
I don't know if you'll have it installed on your computer. That's the bigger
Yeah,
problem.
that's probably an issue. Here, let me grab this. That way I'll have that at least download. Whoa, hey there. I thought this was 2D. Not 2D.
Oh no.
And very big. All right, let's see what else we got here. Everybody's drawn the logo in 3D and everything. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Look at this. Because I just really want to get this. I just want to trace this real quick. So we can do this. Quick, Jody, tell a dad joke.
Who's it? It's so actually that's Lawrence's job, and he's usually the one that's around the time that it starts to slow down. He cracks out a whole mess of them. That's your cue, Lawrence. That's your cue.
Now I gotta wait for the stream to catch up. I feel like I try not to, prep too much because that's boring, right? So
it definitely shows.
yeah, but there's some things I'm like, I really probably could have grabbed the logo ahead of time. I apologize.
Life would be so boring if you just planned it all out.
Serious. Whoops. Whoops. I haven't whoops very much, despite my shirt being obviously prepared for it.
Yeah, you can always whoops more. What's that expression like?
There's always room
Whoops
for more
more,
whoops.
mooks. Yeah, whoops often. Oh, here we go. Got a job offer from an ice cream parlor today. Had to turn it down. I can't do Sundays. Thanks, Lawrence. But
Yeah, I'm glad we held up with that.
why is 6 afraid of 7? If I need this. This needs to be a
79.
really good punchline. I want there to be a twist, a new twist on an old classic.
No.
You don't think there is?
Seven.
What kind of twist can you add to that one?
I don't know what you could put on there. I mean, that's just straightforward legacy dad jokiness right there. But I knew it. Apparently, I was quite excited about it.
Did you hear Did you hear about the explosion at the cheese factory? Debris was everywhere. Yeah. See, that's the best dad jokes are the ones that get a groan. And people act like people try and act offended when you get a groan for your dad joke, but that's really
That's what you're going
that
for.
is that's the aspiration. If you don't get a groan, is it really even a dad joke?
That's fair. That is a fair question. All right. A couple more lines, and then this will be done. And then I'll just use whatever font. I don't know at this point. You guys know what it is. Okay, okay, fine. We'll do it with Comic Sans. I'll probably get in trouble.
Everybody, the entire marketing team for SketchUp will quit on the spot.
Uh, come on, man. All right. You know, there was a time not that long ago where perpendicular snap wasn't a thing. Do you remember that?
Yeah, there's so many types of snap that I and inferences that I just kind of take it for granted now. It's almost like it just should have always been there anyway, so I'll just pretend or I'll
Yeah.
act like it was there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, but I do remember, ooh, that's definitely there's somebody's off here. I remember before having parallel snap, like grabbing geometry or lines and copying them. Like I would take this line was at an angle and just copy it up to here and then up to here and like
Yep.
just good times. All right, so somebody's
So many
not closing here.
yeah, that's
There we go.
surfaces are for closers.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I just made that up just now.
I like it.
Oh, this is more of a shower thought. Trying to lose a game of rock, paper, scissors is just as hard as trying to win.
50-50.
Is- yeah, I guess it is.
That is.
Unless you're trying to lose while the other guy's trying to win.
Does that help anybody's chances at all, though? I mean, don't know if that makes any
I don't
difference.
know. I did see something a while back, a study that showed that men typically start with
Rock,
fist or with rock.
because we're angry and suppressed.
Yeah, and predictable.
Yeah, that sounds right. I believe this study. Carry on.
That I mean, that's the entirety of my TED Talk
Oh,
paper coming.
Jody Gates, everybody. And again, the applause would be playing.
Alas, alas, and alack. No applause.
I think it was somebody on one of these streams who called out that I used to say how I had such a hard time with left or right locking, and somebody on this stream called out, left or right for red, and I just got to say thank you because I still I run that through my brain every time I have to.
How often do you hold up your left hand and make the L to remember which hand is your left hand?
I've graduated past that at this point, but I mean I do still have to look down, but I don't. I know which one's left at this point. Uh,
You what you've done is you've now visualized in your mind's eye which hand makes the L. That's fine. That's fine. I wasn't going to make fun of you if you did. It'd be okay. Um, so Bill asked earlier why you're not using tags in this. I think I just joked that it was simple enough that you didn't need to. But do you uh, do you have a baseline for when you use tags? Like what it is that inspires you to tag things?
uh, Not necessarily. I don't. I can't think of anything in particular that. Hold on. Apparently, I can't. I can't thing at the time doing stuff.
Sorry, brain working.
All right, there you go. All right. Um, I think in general, my use of tags oftentimes comes down to use of the model. So, am I going to need to, at any point, break it into smaller pieces for something? Am I going to take it to layout for output? I think those are the kind of things when I run into them, I start worrying more about tags. This is such a simple model. Everything is componentized. I don't know that I worry about it. But if I got to the point now where I wanted to show this to somebody and break it down into smaller pieces, where I'm like, okay, let's look at, let's look at the ribs by themselves and then take the lights out of the way so we can see the ceiling. That's when I might go break that down into smaller chunks. But as it is, I don't know that something this simple I would mess with it that much. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. That's the thing I'd have to dive into more is like, what's the point at which you use tags? That sounds like a skill builder right there.
It does. When does it matter?
And this is the thing about SketchUp, right? Is everybody does it differently. Everybody does stuff just slightly different, and that's cool. I mean, you do it the way that works for you, and because some people have rules. Like I said it kind of tongue in cheek. Uh, Dave Richards, who joins us on here pretty regularly, is a big fan of using components for everything, which is cool. Um, why does it look off center? I'm not really sure what's going on there. Oh, it might be lower. But same thing with tags. I mean, you might have a workflow or a specific use case that has you using tags. I tend to wait for a reason to start putting a lot of tags in. So if I'm creating a monolithic model that's just of one thing, I don't necessarily want to break it apart. But if I have things making a bunch of smaller pieces that maybe when I fabricate, they're different materials or they go together at different stages, then I might use tags. Um, yeah, I
Yep.
don't know.
Tags was always for me was is pretty much almost completely just about visibility. Like I start to use tags whenever I'm like, oh, this is getting in my way. I need to have a way to not see this.
I think I did it. I think I got all the pieces done.
That didn't look like Comic Sans at all.
I apologize.
Crazy.
That's my booth. That's our booth. That's what it looked like. Um, yeah,
Okay.
I like it.
Way to go.
So one of the things, so here's a tip too. So when I'm gonna turn on, I go to my tools and no, it's in view. This is one of those things I never ever use. Camera, it's in camera. I'm gonna go to field of view. And you see here on the front side, I got a 52.72 degree field of view, or backside, or front side is 52. If I go to the back side, oh, very similar. Um, that's not the default for SketchUp though. The default for SketchUp is 35. So if I come in here and hit 35, it's going to look different, less exaggerated front to back because of that photo, which is pretty normal photo where I have, I can see far back, like I'm stepping back, I get that vanishing points for, whoa, look at that. Look at how my hands did that. There we go. That's vanishing
Whoa,
points right
trippy.
there. This is exactly what I'm talking about. That whole thing will cause a bigger field of view, a higher degree of field of view. But if you ever want to come back to just the standard SketchUp, you can just hit 35 degrees because that's the default view for SketchUp. But there it is. Like I said, I want to take that and put it alongside Sarah's model, who modeled this before it actually got built. See how close I was. I have a feeling my scale's a little off, but I think a lot of the pieces are relatively close to the right thing.
If you go like this with your eyes, they will probably look to almost identical. Thank you.
Like this.
Thanks for contributing to my visual gag.
I don't see any
That works
difference
too.
whatsoever. Awesome. Well, guys, that's gonna wrap it. We did it. We made it through. I came back. Thanks for having me back, guys. And this was awesome. This is a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to do this. Yeah, I'll come back. I'll try this again sometime. I think Tyson is going to come back next week. I mean, he's supposed to. He's supposed to come back, but maybe you'll see him. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. And we will talk next time. I'm not sure what Tyson's modeling next week. We haven't got that far ahead. But yeah, He'll
I'm
model
sure that it
something.
will be something complicated.
He seems to like that.
Yeah, Sydney Opera House or something.
Yeah. Oh, what were we just talking about? Oh, the view igloo. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure that's all it'll be.
Let him know. That's what we need.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then he'll model like a custom Adirondack sitting in the middle of it. All right, cool. Well, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Everybody stay healthy. If you aren't healthy, get better. And hopefully we can see you at base camp. Think about it. If you're still on the fence, now's the time to do it. But if nothing else, we'll see you here next week. Tyson will be modeling, unless he's not.
perfect. See you
All
guys.
right. Bye, guys.